This video is sponsored by Keeper. The 34-inch Samsung Odyssey OLED G8 is one of the best gaming cum productivity cum smart monitors that I've tested in a really long time. And as someone who has used a 49-inch Samsung G9 Neo for, well, the last few years, struggling to find something to upgrade to, this is weirdly the closest I've ever come to switching. So in this video, I'm going to show you why, and if you're currently looking for a monitor, this could well just be the one that you're looking for. First up, let's just get the specs out of the way. The G8 comes with an OLED panel with an 1800R curve, a 0.1 millisecond response time, and clocks up to 175 Hz to give you some of the best quality and most responsive gaming and productivity monitors that money can buy. Input-wise, we have some strange inputs that we don't normally see on monitors. One mini display port, one micro HDMI, and finally not one, but two USB-C ports. Now the picture quality on here looks absolutely beautiful with display HDR, true black 400. There's also AMD's FreeSync Premium and a resolution of 3440 by 1440. So this thing absolutely flies. There's also the new Smart TV interface built into this screen, including a gaming hub which lets you stream popular titles from platforms such as Xbox, GeForce Now, and used to stream Google Stadia games, RIP to that, but does also mean that you get access to Samsung's TV service called Samsung TV Plus to access a wide range of channels to turn this great computer monitor into an even better TV. There's also an included remote control and support for Bixby, Alexa, and SmartThings integrations. And to address the elephant in the room, because I keep making this mistake myself, no, this is not the same as the Samsung G8 Neo, which is a 32-inch screen that I previously reviewed. This is a totally different and in a whole new league of its own. So first I want to address the things I love about this screen, and then I'll get onto what I don't love, even though there's honestly not that much that I don't love about the screen. And it even starts from the unboxing experience when you get to set up the screen for the first time. You take it out of the box, you power it on, and the first thing it does is takes you through a more modern way of connecting it to your home Wi-Fi and integrating it into your SmartThings account and performing a software update over the internet, if of course one is available. Now this might sound really simple, but my $2,500 Samsung G9 Neo screen still has to be updated with a USB stick with a firmware file that you have to manually download and extract onto it. So I am finally glad to see these newer screens are finally in the 21st century. Speaking of things that are finally coming to pass, you might have seen on the news online that one of the most popular and widely used password managers, LastPass, has had a massive data breach in December last year. Now it's been so bad where a huge amount of data was stolen, and they've basically advised all of their customers to change all of their passwords. And if you follow my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've been very anti-LastPass for years with their bait and switch, with offering a free product then charging for it, whilst suffering breach after breach, and a recent post from someone who's discovered a bug in their software only to be completely ignored repeatedly by LastPass when trying to report it. Insane. So when Keeper reached out to ask if I'd spread the word and help people move away from LastPass, it's an easy thing to say yes to, because the fewer people that are using LastPass, the more secure our data will be. Now, I don't have the same concerns about Keeper. In fact, in the last 4 years of making password comparison videos, including Keeper, I've never ever raised Keeper security as a concern of mine. They're one of the only password managers out there that has 0 embedded trackers in their Android app. When LastPass themselves embed a marketing tracker in theirs, Keeper have always been very open about their security by design, and they're also working with new customers to provide additional discounts and first-year credits to help switch people away from LastPass, even if you've already paid for LastPass. Now, to help with the transition, they've also got a simple migration wizard to get your data out from LastPass and into Keeper, and with security assessment tools like their Breach Watch service, which monitors for leaked passwords, which I guess we'll be doing overtime now with the LastPass breach. Ultimately, there were plenty of red flags for why you shouldn't be using LastPass, and I have honestly none of these concerns around Keeper, so I'm more than happy to have Keeper on as a sponsor for this video and to recommend them to my audience. Now, back to the screen. Now, firstly for me, it's the overall looks of this screen and the incredible build quality. Like when unboxing this thing and setting it up, it just feels so much better quality than any of the other Samsung screens I've reviewed so far, including the G8 Neo, the G9, G9 Neo, and even the Samsung Arc. All of those screens were quite chunky, they were quite thick right to the very edges and quite chunky bezels on them. Whereas the G8 OLED tapers off as it gets to the edges, so when you pick this thing up, when you move it around, it not only feels much nicer, but also means that it's a lot lighter compared to other similar sized screens. And because it's lighter, it's easier to move around when you want to change its position or height on the desk. Now, the second thing I love about this screen is the connectivity. Now, of course, I'm more of a Mac user, as you might be able to see underneath there, but I do like to bust out the odd PC game here and there, as well as my Xbox or or like PlayStation. But having USB-C, which also provides 65 watts of power, has been a huge breath of fresh air. So I can easily connect in my MacBook Air or even my Mac Studio into this screen without this confusing decision of finding the right dongles or the adapters, you know, whole dongle life with Apple stuff, to get this into a HDMI or DisplayPort connection. I actually feel their decision of 2 USB-C, 1 DisplayPort and 1 HDMI is a much better overall fit. Like Macs can go into USB-C, gaming consoles into HDMI, and then PCs into DisplayPort. Compared to all of the other Samsung screens that I've reviewed so far, which have had 2 HDMI and 1 DisplayPort, and that was it, which then causes issue when you're trying to hook up, say, a Mac, a PC, and a games console, considering still Apple has yet to get onto the HDMI like 2.1 train, which is more of a frustration to Apple than Samsung. But with the G8 OLED, you also get built-in speakers, which are a good alternative if you don't have standalone speakers to use, and you get a remote control, which is something I've started seeing a lot more recently with newer screens, and it's a very, very welcome addition. Now, having a remote control makes it much easier to switch on or off, change the volume, change the inputs, or browse through the menu system, rather than having to use like the built-in controls and little joysticks, you know, on the G9 Neo. Now, it also means you have quick access to things like smart TV features like Samsung Smart TV, Prime Video, Disney, Netflix. It's easier to browse their cloud gaming features too, something that I personally will never bother with, mainly because in my personal experience, it gives you a pretty bad image quality and some pretty laggy controls. But if you need a hybrid kind of desktop come TV, then the built-in Samsung TV Plus comes as a pretty great bonus feature. Now, I do wish you had more direct control from the remote control, like controlling the screen brightness or having preset inputs, picture-by-picture modes, or channels you can quickly switch to without browsing through the menu, but it is definitely a step up from using the built-in controls. I guess the remote has been designed more as a TV remote than a computer remote control, so it would be nice to go maybe with a computer monitor first approach, like maybe next time. Another thing I love about this screen, which I still can't quite decide for me if this is an upgrade or maybe a downgrade from the 49-inch G9 Neo. Now, firstly, going from a 49-inch down to the 34-inch, this actually feels a better overall size. And it's starting to actually make me wonder if I would be better off having 2 of these maybe stacked on top of each other, or maybe just go the other way around and have 2 next to each other instead. But having a single 34-inch screen now means that I can reclaim some of my desk space back again, which was like really clutch, as just before Christmas, a couple of brands reached out to me to see if they can send me some desk accessories. Grovemade sent me this desk shelf, which actually perfectly fits both the screen, my Mac Studio, the AirPods, and my charger all on top, with neat little cubby holes for things like the remote control, my audio interface, the Kindle, and a few other things there as well. They also sent out a felt desk pad because my other desk pad was just a little bit too deep, which looks really, really great. But also, Harbour London sent me this very premium looking leather desk pad, which is also really comfortable to work on and has a nifty little loop at the top to hold charging cables in place. I can't quite decide whether it looks better with the grey Grovemade felt desk pad or the brown leather desk pad from Harbour London, so perhaps you can let me know down in the comments which one looks best, because I'm really bad with decisions like this. So thank you, and yeah, I'll throw some links down below if you are interested in picking any of those up for yourself. Now, something I have done with this desk setup is use the monitor arm from Ergotron, the same one I used for my 49-inch G9 Neo, mainly because it just saves me space. It was already there with the included monitor stand, but to be fair, the Samsung, the stand on the G8 OLED, is actually much smaller and looks much smarter than this gigantic like G9 Neo stand, but I just love how clean this desk setup looks with the monitor just like floating above the desk shelf like that. Of course, one of the best things about this screen is the image quality. Now, it is difficult to show through a YouTube video, but this screen for me was a significant jump in image quality compared to the G9, the G9 Neo, and even the gigantic Samsung Arc screen, which are, you know, of course, much, much larger. Now, it's a similar jump that happened when I switched to an OLED TV recently, where the blacks just look so much deeper than the TV before that, and just the overall picture quality, the lack of haloing, the light bleed from like bright and dark areas of the screen, it is just like a night and day difference. The fact that this screen is also 175 Hz and 0.1 millisecond response makes it incredible for both gaming and also productivity, weirdly. Now, for gaming, I'm still waiting on my PC upgrade so that I can actually, well, hit anywhere near 175 FPS in games, but at least I can benefit from the 0.1 millisecond response time until then. Now, games I play regularly, such as like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Forza, they all look and play beautifully on this screen, taking full advantage of like the OLED panel, which makes the games look absolutely stunning. I've also tried connecting my PlayStation 5 into this screen, and again, it looks incredible. Over on the productivity side of things, again, this is USB-C with 65 watts of power delivery, which means you can then hook up a MacBook and use it as both a display and power delivery cable at once. It's just so refreshing. And with my Mac Studio wired in through USB-C, I can get, unfortunately, only 120 Hz, like not the full 175 Hz refresh rate, which is something that I keep running into with all of these screens. Like, I'm not sure if it's a Samsung issue or an Apple limitation, but at least this time I didn't have to fiddle around with like extra display utilities to get it working properly. And I have to say that even using the Mac for productivity, you do still notice 120 Hz. Like windows move around on the screen more smoothly, the image just looks crisper, and for those pixel peepers around us, you have to look much closer to the screen before you start to see any like individual pixels than with any of the other screens I've reviewed recently on this channel. Also with the screen, you get built-in support for Samsung Smart Things. Now this isn't something I use a huge amount. It just pops up on my screen from time to time to tell me the washing machine or the tumble dryer is finished. Now something that I can see being really useful though is if you work from home, that kind of makes sense. But also because it supports Smart Things, I can actually hook this monitor into my home automation system, which I use Home Assistant for. Now from here, I can't do too much, but I can do things like making sure the screen is switched off when the house is empty, just in case someone's like left the screen on by mistake. Now something I wish I could do with other like TVs in my living room, which currently isn't as smart as this one. So as far as the good things go, this is a really great screen. I love the form factor, the image quality, the smart features, the included remote control, but there are some things I don't like about it. Honestly, there aren't that many, but I'll be honest, here they are all the same. Number one, I can't do much about the Samsung Smart Things notifications. I can have them on or off, but I can't change where they display on the screen or how big they are on the screen. Again, like I said, minor issue. Number two, a weird bug, but the volume on this screen seems to creep up by itself. It might have even done it behind the scenes whilst we've been sat here, but I've been using the screen almost every day for like 6 to 8 hours a day, and every couple of hours or so, the volume just goes up, just by one, for no reason at all. Like nobody's turned the volume up. I've not bumped the remote control by mistake or anything. Maybe it's the home automation software doing something, but again, it doesn't say it's done anything. But this screen is now at like 50 volume, I think. 53, and it started at like 10 or 20, but that doesn't affect me, of course, since I'm still using external speakers. But still, if you do use the kind of built-in speakers, then that might be annoying for you. Which I guess is number three. The speakers in this thing really aren't that great. So I'd still recommend getting yourself a separate pair of speakers if you want that better quality sound. And then number four, which isn't a complaint so much as a feature request. I love the form factor. I love the OLED panel. I love how it tapers to the edges. The interface, just everything about this screams modern and high quality. So where is the 49-inch G9 OLED Neo, or whatever you want to call it? Okay, so I've just caught up on the CES 2023 announcements, and they have announced two new products that basically fix all of the things I was just talking about. So they've got a new G9 OLED, the 49-inch version, which is basically this, but 49 inches, tapered edges, new smart screen, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really good stuff here. They've also got this new 57-inch G9 Neo, which is the kind of older style shape and, you know, more chunky form factor, but it's got mini LEDs in there, and it looks stunning. And 57 inches, it's got a much improved resolution. So I'm looking forward to checking both of those out on this channel. So subscribe for those, and I'll see you in the next one.